What's good, people? It's your man Sham S. Jones, and today I wanted to talk to how to turn grief or use grief as fuel for creativity. Oftentimes when we're going through a situation that might be painful, difficult, or stressful, such as the loss of a beloved one, we experience a great deal of grief. But even in that grief, we can use it for creativity. For instance, if you are a member of a family that has experienced a loss, that loss can motivate you to take that hurt and use it constructively and creatively in terms of, let's say, you're an uncle and someone passes and you recognize that during that time family members are doing different things in terms of coming together on the celebration of life for your lost loved one. So you might decide that even though you're an accountant by trade or by that's what you do, it's necessary to get together the information on, let's say, the service of the memorial. So now the accountant becomes a graphic designer, a photographer, a writer, and a print publisher out of necessity, because they have to operate in those roles. They have to recognize that even though they go to work every day in accounting and they put together reports on, profit and loss and things like that, now they've got to creatively express how their loss of their loved one has affected them in terms of how they're going to continue to be profitable based on the valuable experiences that loved one imparted into their life while they were here. So you then recognize that you use that creatively when you speak of your beloved one. You talk about how they may have taught you how to manage your income when you were a young person. They might have told you to be more mindful of your pennies. And if you had a lemonade stand, or you were a young enterprising person, they might have created a lemonade stand for you, or a little patty shop, or whatever it was that you were into, to motivate you to become self-sufficient. And then that is a great remembrance, and it is a great use of your creative grief. So that being said, today we're going to talk about creative grief, putting those emotions into engagement experiences to build your brand during a change of life event, like the departure of a beloved one. I had to write that down because even though I put that in the description of the video, I would not be able to remember it. So I did the description in the video and I wrote it down, and I was like, let me read it back because it's got to be on the video at some point. So that being said, I was recently blessed by a family to take part in creating some content for a celebration of life event that's going to take place next week. And so we sat down and we did a rough draft or sharing of what the obituary information was looking like at that point. I'd taken notes on my phone and so forth, and then I just was like, all right, let's format some of these words so that you can get a flow of how it's going to go. And you do with it what you do with it, because I think that it's important that you invite the family into the process so that they can use their grief creatively. Because people want to feel part of the process because they are part of the process. So as a creative, I give you a template and a direction, and I let you move how you move, and you come back to me after you've come together collectively as a family that has lost a beloved one. You may have all got together and shared stories, and oh, remember this, and oh, remember that, and I have this photo, and they loved this color, and you come together as a family and creatively use your grief to create the best memorial remembrance for your beloved one. So that's what I'm working on. So I had showed them an example of one of my younger cousins, Charisma Raven Billups. She was born in 93 and she passed in 2017. So that shows you that she was a young lady, just 24 years old. And so dealing with the fact that I hadn't seen Charisma for a number of years, she's my aunt's youngest daughter, and my aunt is my mom's youngest sister. My aunt passed away when Charisma was young. So her and her siblings experienced what me and my siblings experienced, which was their mom dying when they were very young, and each of them going in different directions in terms of living with different relatives. So we'd lost touch for a number of years, and she passed away, and I hadn't actively thought of her in years. Of course, I knew of her because I played with her when she was a younger person, but I hadn't had her in my active thoughts. So when she passed away, I had some conversations with cousins who kept in contact with her or who didn't keep in contact with her, and I had to compile a remembrance for her, a family member who I had allowed to become a relative, meaning that even though we are biologically family, I placed her in the relative category in terms of our connectedness, which was broken over a period of time. So I didn't actively know who she was at 24 years old. I remembered who she was at about 7 to 8 years old when her mom passed. So that being said, I had to come up with an obituary to a young woman who's a relative of mine who I haven't actively engaged with. So reached out to family members, her surviving older brother Norman, and he gave me some information and went back and forth with a lot of my younger cousins, and we came up with this was the cover, right? And this was like the obituary, processional stuff, and then this is like the back, right? So, and then I did some other stuff, some memes where I took this photo and I put it within a cell phone. I'll probably put the graphic up at some point, and so you can see what I'm talking about. And that was for cousins to share with others in their social network. And I realized that as younger people, they're on their cell phone. So I took her photo and I put it on a cell phone and made it into a meme so that they'd share it on their social media. Just what I would call a memorial meme, or, so that people who are socially connected to the family, who may not be able to physically attend the homegoing service, they could pass it along and share it with others as well. So that worked out pretty good. So hopefully if you're checking this out, you're able to glean something from this, and you can creatively use your grief. You can put all those emotions you're feeling, that sense of loss, depression, the trauma of losing a loved one. Just put all those emotions into an engagement experience, meaning that you use that energy constructively by learning how to delegate things that you cannot immediately accomplish because you don't want to overwork yourself. You want to be constructive, not counterproductive. So during your grief process, you have to recognize that there will be some things that you will delegate. I mean, even though you do make a banging, so-and-so jerk chicken or stewed chicken or rice and peas or peas and rice, whatever, at this particular juncture, you've got too much on your plate to be doing all that. So you may need to loosen up a bit and write that recipe down and delegate it off to somebody else and let them do it. And if they need to ask you some things or even make it in your presence, let them do that. But you need to learn to delegate that because you got stuff to do. All right? Some of you know who I'm talking about. Y'all got that issue. Y'all got to let these younger folks learn how to make some mac and cheese. Some of you doing macaroni pie, whatever floats your boat. But you got to let these young people get involved in the process. Okay? Use that grief creatively. So I didn't want you to think that I was just appealing to the uncles and not going to speak to the aunties or the daughters or the granddaughters or the sons or whomever that applies to. Okay, so as you guys know, 2020 is the year of the visionary. I'm very excited about a lot of the things that we've got going on, bookings, just a lot of stuff. It's good luck. So look for my series of vlogs that are called When. You'll check it out. I'll post when it's going to go live or whatever. You guys know. That being said, I'm going to get out of here, get my day started. Hopefully you guys will use your grief creatively and put those emotions into an engagement experience to build your brand. Remember, BYB, build your brand during this change of life event, like the departure of a beloved one. All right, it's your man Sham S. Jones. Catch you guys next time. Peace.